Hello everyone, this is Sir Quark and you're listening to the Steam Star Network and this is the You Are Hope Transparent Town Hall. Which episode? I can't remember. What week are we on? I don't know. That's okay. We're just getting switched over to our new Friday night schedule and we used to be on Tuesdays. Sorry for that confusion. It wasn't well communicated, but over the past few weeks both Patrice and I have come to realize that Tuesday nights are not our very best nights. Let me check in with the audience and see if everybody can hear me and if the stream switched over nicely. Let's just check that out. Looks like I'm on YouTube. Looks like I'm on Twitch. Looks like I'm on Steam Star Network. Looks like I'm happening everywhere. So I hope I made it through to you, dear listeners. Everything's groovy. No jingle or nothing. You guys want a jingle? Well, how about this? You won't be able to see the video because the video is on the video stream. So if you're listening in Discord, you're not going to catch this. But here's my Vote My Witness animation jingle. All right, so you probably heard music if you were listening on the streams, but you probably didn't hear it in the control booth with me, I think. But anyway, that should have had some sound on it. It isn't really a jingle. If you want a jingle, it'd be like, You Are Hope, Transparent Town Hall, the show about stuff that we do all week, yeah, with Sir Cork. Anyway, I don't really have much of a show planned for tonight in particular. There's a couple things that I would like to cover, but it's been kind of a slow week in charity work. Yes, Sargento made me a groovy GIF version of that animation, which is in a laptop. You'll see that on a lot of the bottoms of my posts, and that's really cool. And that animation nearly killed us both. I couldn't get it small enough to put in a post. Sarge took over and spent like 7 months on it, or at least a couple of days, and made an animation that at least fits in a post and doesn't take 45 minutes to load. But thank you for that, Sarge. That's the vote Sir Cork's witness. Now, Sir Cork is not just Sir Cork. Since I initiated the witness last year under my own name, I've since added Rhonda K as a teammate. So just to be clear, when we talk about voting for Sir Cork for witness, we're actually talking about two people, myself and Rhonda K. If you're curious about what we do all over the place here on the platform, you can stop over to steam.agency, which is our website. And on the homepage, you'll see all the projects that we support, we're involved in, and we created, like the You Are Hope Foundation, which this show is about, the Steam Star Network, which you're listening to right now, are both creations of mine. Rhonda also has a charity called TARC, the Tazewell Animal Rescue Center, which is a dog and other animals she has in her home. She has a raccoon and birds and a pig and goats and other things she's rescued. But when I was at her location, over 45 dogs were on the site that she cares for. And currently, I believe it's entirely funded by the blockchain, just like us. Sarge is pointing out the coalition. The coalition of causes, maybe what he's referring to, which is in the You Are Hope server. The You Are Hope server offers a home to any charity that doesn't want to maintain their own Discord, or perhaps does have their own Discord, but would also like to participate in what I consider a hub of giving in the You Are Hope Discord. So if you aren't familiar with You Are Hope Discord, we'd love to have you over there. There's 500 or 600 members already. These are the people that are the generous hearts that keep us going. And to talk about that a little bit, let me start with our Thursday donor report, which I'll just need to quickly bring up over here in my browser because I wasn't really planning to think about that. But if you'll just give me 1 second, I'll let go of the press to talk button and type really fast. And if Steam It works with me, it'll be really fast too. And I'll tell you a little bit about what's been going on in the week. And I don't want to leave anybody out. So let's start with a great big show of gratitude to all of the wonderful people on the platform like yourselves and others who help us out with the funding we need to do what we do. If you're not familiar with You Are Hope, You Are Hope Foundation was created last October by myself and Malos 10, whose name is Rennie. He's in Venezuela. And I was at the time a senior mod and pal, and I had created MSP Waves Radio, and I was over there all the time and meeting all the new users that came in. And this young Venezuelan guy by the name of Malos 10, who was about 18 years old, and he's 19 now, I believe, came into the server one night, and the first thing he did on his first or second day on the platform as an animator and a graphics artist was to come into this giant community and offer literally hundreds of people in the room a free graphic of their name for the bottom of their posts. And he was very generous about that. And I pulled him into a DM and I said, man, I already like you. When you come in and you're generous right from the get-go like that, you know, you got my attention, and welcome to the community. I got to talking to this guy. And You Are Hope Foundation came out of the fact that when I spoke to Rennie, I learned that he was 18, he was living in Venezuela, and I got to tell you, last year I didn't know how bad things were in Venezuela, but they're in a terrible situation. They have a corrupt socialist government that's taken over the country. People there wait in lines for hours and hours to get food, and food's very expensive, and there is no currency. Their economy has crashed. Everybody's struggling and desperate. It's the worst possible imaginable financial scenario for an entire country. It's kind of like when Greece went bankrupt, only 1,000 times worse, because they're not getting any aid, and they're just down there just kind of starving to death and fighting, you know, that poverty level life. Even professionals, a typical Venezuelan makes about $1 USD per month, and that's a regular income. A doctor or a lawyer might make $3 USD per month right now in the Venezuelan economy. So you can imagine that steaming is a really big deal for them. Even the pennies that they might make can add up to more than a monthly income in a day or two. So I meet Rennie, and he comes to me, and I've told this story. I know I have his permission to tell it because we've told it together. And so he comes to me and he says, yeah, I'm trying to make it here on Steemit. My school books and expenses are very high, and I'm in trouble for paying for my schooling. And we don't have a lot of resources here. And I got talking to him. I said, well, do you have food? You know, when he was explaining the situation, I'm like, do you even have food? And he's like, well, we probably have a couple days worth. He hadn't asked me for anything. He was just talking to me about the situation. So I quietly slipped over to my wallet while he was telling me all this and sent him 20 Steam. When he got that and came back to me, he was astounded because I didn't realize I had just given him nearly 2 years of income at minimum wage. For real. Like for real. 2 years of income, 20 Steam. A dollar or two USD per month. Steam was a couple dollars at the time. So I had basically given him like 2 years of income. It was like a windfall for him, like winning the lottery. So he paid his expenses, his books and his schooling. And then on his own accord, he took about 10 Steam of that 20 and went out into the streets, cooked food at home called arepas, which is like a handheld Latin food that's convenient to carry and wrap in saran wrap and hand out to people, can be eaten cold. It's like bread and cheese and like a hot pocket sort of a thing. And he took a bunch of these out, and he fed about 30 people with the money, and came back and made a post about it. And I fell in love with the post and the concept. And I want to say that was in like September when that happened, right before I left PAL MSP. And by October, I had gotten involved in giving on the chain and found out about an initiative in the Philippines to feed 100 orphans at this on World Food Day on October 16th. My birthday is October 17th. I had just left PAL MSP. I was absorbed with giving on the chain and working with Rennie to get more money to Venezuela and help with what he was doing down there to feed homeless people and so on. Got involved with Jay Sinajay out of the Steam Cebu group and the Philippines, and helped with their feeding 150 children and giving them each a pair of shoes, children that were from impoverished and heavy-duty bad scene conditions. And so the birth of You Are Hope came from two young men, both under 20 years old, who came to me with giving in their hearts and demonstrated to me the power of esteem. We took that, and on October 16th, on World Food Day, we launched You Are Hope and started to solicit funds and donations and look for missions. As that's developed since October, we've now done work in 12 countries. We've served a couple of thousand people, ranging in age from orphans and children to elderly. We've done work at orphanages, repaired buildings, repaired schools, provided school supplies. Mr. Akpan was the third person to get involved, a Nigerian who was another young man in his 20s. All these young people really encouraging me, and me encouraging them, and us encouraging each other, and it just grew and grew. So now today, You Are Hope is proud to say that we're Steam exclusive, blockchain transparent, community fueled, and very successful in working with very limited funds to do amazing things all around the world. Yeah, so his dad actually, Sargento mentions also his dad who helps him. Rappo is the username of his father. His father really didn't get involved until just a few months ago. It was really the young man, Rennie, who was doing all this. And his dad and his stepmom did get involved eventually, but at first they weren't even on the platform. They've now joined Steam and they're all three working together. They've built a playground. We have murals on walls in two schools now in Venezuela. We have the name You Are Hope is on backpacks and school supplies in Nigeria. There, we've helped just what have we done? We've done medicine, malaria remediation, we've rebuilt roads, we've dug ditches, we've cleaned up villages, we've dispensed medicines, mosquito netting, and other supplies and medical care in Africa and a couple of countries, Ghana and Nigeria. We've done work in the Philippines repeatedly. We've done work in Puerto Rico where we send agricultural seeds. A lot of you have heard most of this. So I'm kind of repeating myself, but I like to get it into the show recordings because they get posted and people hear this that haven't been to the show and heard this story before. So anyway, all of that preface about the birth of You Are Hope and some of the successes we've had over the last year is there's no S on it, Sarge. You're going to want to bounce up there and take that S off. Rappo. It's just Rappo. And Nietzsche, I don't know if that's spelled right or not, but I haven't seen her in a while. And I think she has actually relocated to Puerto Rico right now. Previously, she was working out of Pennsylvania, I think, with her husband, and they were loading freight cars full of supplies to hurricane-ravaged western Puerto Rico. And I think they've now relocated over there, and I haven't seen her online in quite a while. Thanks for the edit. Yeah, the plague of malaria, where a person had already lost a baby to malaria, and a team of Nigerians went in and basically manually dug ditches, cleaned up garbage and litter, unflooded this village, sprayed insecticides everywhere, spent several days, and then put mosquito netting in all the houses, taught the people there how to protect their homes from mosquitoes and malaria, taught the people there a little bit about nutrition and some other things. We've done free healthcare days. We've done a lot of stuff. I mentioned the Coalition of Causes. In the Coalition of Causes, we work with people like the Air Clinic, and we work with Steam Helping Hand. We work with Schools for SDG in Bangladesh. We work with a lot of the other blockchain-based charities to support each other, to promote each other, and when we can, to actually donate to each other and so forth. So speaking of donors, here at the 12 minutes into the show, let me just jump over to Fishy Culture, my counterpart in You Are Hope in charge of posting stuff right now. And she's put up our weekly Thankful Thursday donor report. I just want to run through and give you an idea of the kinds of things that are happening. Now, we don't have a whale benefactor. We don't have a large wallet. I'm not a rich man. This is all happening thanks to mostly minnows. And we do this stuff that I've described. Thousands of people have been fed, clothed, shoes, medicated, anti-malaria, buildings repaired, playgrounds built, all these things all over the world. And we've done it on pennies and dollars, or steams and SPDs. So giving is not just about making a donation. It is about making a difference. The size of the donation doesn't matter. If you have 0.01 and you just want to send your change to us, round off your wallet now and then to us with the pocket change, that it can make an amazing difference. When 10 SPD at the time could feed 30 people, now it could probably feed closer to 75 people, given the exchange rate that's varied since last summer. But at the end of the day, what we do with the money is just amazing. That's all done by agents of hope who work on the ground as boots on the ground in these impoverished and disadvantaged locales and report back, usually with photography, sometimes with video. And we have a whole archive of that stuff in the You Are Hope server, where you can go to the You Are Hope news channel and go back to the beginning of our time. And we've tried to capture every mission report, every fundraiser, everything that's ever been in any way supportive of You Are Hope there, so that you can kind of follow our history. But just looking at last Thursday, for example, here's what we have in our report. I might just kind of read it to you because Fishy-Culture does such a good job of summarizing everything. So here's a report from the field on Thankful Thursday by Fishy-Culture. Please support that. It's published on the YouAreHOPE account, YouAreHOPE, all one word, no punctuation on Steemit. Check out some of the featured stories from the past week. See how your generosity is changing lives around the world. See how Deranged Vision describes how we are already changing the world with his fundraiser. Check out, she's got a link to my little joke post this week, but it's actually a fundraiser as well, the block production post experiment, where I jokingly came up with a trick on Crazy BG's Crazy About Steam show last week that we were going to try to trend a brick. Literally, we were going to try to trend a brick. So I took a photograph of a brick and wrote a post which basically has a photograph of a brick in it, and it says, block production experiment. Trend this brick. Get it? Block, brick. Anyway, all the proceeds of that post go to YouAreHOPE. It wasn't that funny, and it didn't really work out, but we did make a significant little bit of income on that post for a donation to YouAreHOPE. I think it got 10 or 15 SBD out of that. Be sure to watch the video Melos made of giving 50 shoes to people in need. That video is probably the greatest piece of video I've ever seen made of any of our missions yet. Because, first of all, Melos, as I mentioned at the beginning, is a graphics artist. So he's very good with a camera and with design and so on. And he's put together a video of the process of him collecting used shoes in his community from shoe donors. Most of these shoes were worn out and broken. He went on to repair them using shoe glue and relacing them and fixing the soles and patching the holes and all the other poetry that I can come up with. And then went out and distributed the shoes, 50 pairs of shoes, to people on the street who were barefoot, literally. And then we did shoes again in another city in Venezuela with Big Dude with 30 pairs of new shoes that we were able to fund for children in his city. So thank you to everyone on the ground over the past week working on fundraisers and actual mission work, which seems to be very shoe-centric in the last 7 days. We continue to enjoy the support of Sneaky Ninja Bot and Lost Ninja Bot, who share a portion of all of their profits with us. Every single round of every single bid bot firing that goes off with Sneaky Ninja and Lost Ninja, a portion of that is sent to us immediately after the bidding round, and you'll see the wallet on YouAreHOPE is filled with a surprising amount of income and donations from the Ninja Club, the ninjas that belong to operators that are fond of YouAreHOPE. Sid Jokes has a post you may want to get involved with. I will drop the link to this entire report in just a moment. Sid Jokes runs basically it's a faucet in a way. He puts up a post, collects all the proceeds, and then splits it between everybody who voted on the post. And it's just a way to, I don't exactly know how it started. He just, he puts up a post, collects whatever revenue that post makes, and then splits it back out by everybody who voted on it. And it includes YouAreHOPE in the split now for all of his posts. As it says here in the list by Fishy-Culture, Sid Jokes continues the faucet payments. Drip by drip fills the cup. And that's the truth. Even the smallest little 0.02, 0.05, all of that adds up to a Steam eventually. And a Steam can feed several people or buy a child a backpack and school supplies, believe it or not, in Nigeria for a Steam. I think when we did 130 kids at 3 schools with Mr. Akpan and Legos, I think there was a $200 or a 200 Steam investment at a time when Steam was about $1, so about $200. But we bought 130 backpacks. We bought textbooks, pencils, pens, paper, stuffed all the backpacks. And we didn't just give it to the kids. We asked them to write an essay about what they loved about their country, I think was what he had them do. I wasn't actually there. But each kid who wrote an essay then received one of these backpack kits. And of course, for the kids that didn't write an essay or whatever, we still gave them one anyway. So, but the idea was to teach them that you don't just get a handout, you need to earn it. And so the children were asked to write an essay to earn their school stuff, which was pretty cool. 4 SBD from Deranged Visions, and I'm going to read the memos from each person along with their donation. 4 SBD from Deranged Visions, keep making the world better. 50 Steam, one of our bigger size donations ever. 50 Steam from Hope Hugs. I just got this transferred from Tarakadam for my submission, so it's for YouAreHOPE really. She entered a contest for charities on our behalf and I didn't want to enter it. I'm not a fan of entering contests, but she wrote an entry to this contest and won 50 steam for the charity, so she sent that over. Very cool. One steam from Richard Green, one SBD from Me Man, one love for the Mother's Pride. 3.250 SBD from Artemis North. Thank you, Artemis. From Shout Out Saturday Post. One SBD from Battle Axe. Cork won the Cupcake Bake Off. She just makes stuff up. Two SBD from AnCat Barbie. One SBD from Battle Axe again. 0.0787 SBD from Eliza Ching, 25% from the Make Me Smile weekly payout. She ran a post which she split between several causes and sent us just 78 cents SBD. And that's still valuable because that's one or two people more that we can assist and feed somewhere in the world. One SBD from Battle Axe again. She's doing them frequently every couple of days, and we just list them in order out of the wallet. 0.001 steam power from Gabby Rudigliano. Again, a thousandth of a steam was donated. And that's still worth getting mentioned in the Thankful Thursday donor report because we're grateful for even a fraction of a penny because it all adds up. And we get, just as you can hear, I'm running down this list, aside from the $50 donation, it's one steam, two steam, one steam, 78 cents. That's what we're dealing with. It's not the whales. It's not the big dolphins. It's you minnows who have been the most prevalent in donating to others in the world. And I'm so grateful to you for that. So carrying on, 3 SBD from the Alliance, 25% rounded up from an Eyes On Post payout. 1 SBD from EM Joe, donation to help raise the hope of many. 1 steam from Tessera Gabriella. 1.50 SBD from Katrina Ariel, some Team Good Love. And 15 SBD from Sergeant Dan for the babies. Sergeant Dan is all about some babies. And to be honest with you, Dan, I actually didn't know that donation had come in because ever since Fishy Culture took over doing these reports, I scroll the wallet, but as you know, wallets, there's, each of these donations is separated by 1,000 wallet spams and curation rewards and whatever. So I actually didn't see that one, and I apologize. I would have said thank you to you in person already, but thank you very much for the very generous gift of 15 SBD that came out of your pocket as opposed to a contest or something like that. We're very, very generous. So thank you so much to all of the donors this week. Every Thursday we do post the report. We try to include the hot spots or hot topics of what we've been up to all week and a list of everyone that we're grateful to for their donation. Here's this week's link. It's still valid for voting. Any money that comes in on the post, if you should choose to go over there, read it, and maybe hit it with an updoot, will go back into YouAreHOPE. 100% of the funds into YouAreHOPE are applied to operating the charity and the missions. Very rarely you'll see me take some cash out of that account back over to mine to pay for the servers, for the witness, and for the websites and stuff that we run surrounding all of this. I used to have a pretty significant website built for YouAreHOPE, and I broke it. And I haven't had time to fix it, but I still have the server and I intend to put it back up. So you'll see a small withdrawal from that. Part of the transparency of this show is to discuss where the money goes. But for the most part, it all 100% goes out to the agents who do the work in the field around the world to deliver these missions. So let's talk about the agents for a minute. The agents are chosen carefully. People come to me and they pitch me their plan. I require some documentation up front. Generally, I want to know that they've been here a while and have a decent reputation in the community, that they are not just walking in off the street with a 25 rep and asking me for 200 SBD. That's not going to happen. But I try to get to know people. I have them in the community. I have other people get to know them. If they speak a language I'm not familiar with, I know enough people on the platform in every country to find somebody I trust to take a look at their content and make sure it's basically legit person. And they may not have always been doing charity work, but we can kind of tell what somebody's about. That's the basis we have to work with. So then what we'll do is I'll ask them to submit a mission plan. Some of them are incredibly elaborate. If I showed you the documents for the free health day we did on the small island outside of a rural area in Nigeria, which was dealing with massive clean drinking water problems and food problems and health problems. And they did a free medical care day. They brought doctors and nurses, a tent, a PA system. They set up like a field MASH hospital and provided medical care to all these people in this village, which is of all things stricken with diabetes and malaria and typhoid and food poisonings and all kinds of problems there, water issues. They brought in medicines, and I got 6 or 7 pages, detailed line items of every item they took, ranging from folding chairs to flipping penicillin or whatever. Like everything was on this. And so I get really detailed information from the agents, and sometimes I don't. When Melos comes to me, Rennie, when he comes to me and says, I'm going to do another campaign, we've identified an orphanage that the playground is unsafe, it's not been repaired in 15 years, it's rusty, there's nails sticking out, the ground is bare dirt, and we'd like to go in and use his father's construction skills to reconstruct this orphanage playground. Or it's actually, in this case, it was a small elementary school in a very impoverished town, village. I know him. I know that every time we do the work, he comes back with amazing reports and photographs and video of the experience. And so I don't really have to vet him anymore. So we try to build up relationships with agents in these areas, like I mentioned Jason Ajay and Melos 10 and Mr. Akpan and Big Dude and many others who are out in the field. And Sarge pointed out Nietzsche on Puerto Rico. I've got, the guy in Bangladesh. I know his name. I attended the 2-year anniversary of his charity school, and right now his name's slipping because I'm on the radio under pressure, and I will be able to say it as soon as I get off the air. But I've got people all over the world now that have done multiple missions that we will fund without question because we always see the results. And Ada Deja, who did the stuff in the village cleanup. I mean, I could name all the names if I had the list in front of me, and perhaps I should keep it more handy for these shows. But at the end of the day, if someone new comes to me, they got to prove themselves to me before they get a dime of your money. It's not my money, your money. And then if they don't deliver, they're never going to get a thing from us again. Now, do keep in mind, we're talking about usually donations between 20 and 50 steam to accomplish a lot of these missions. The largest mission we've ever done was the village cleanup, and that was 200. And I ended up sending 250 before it was all over. And then the Agent of Hope Steamian, who was doing the job, and I had photography coming in all day from that experience. They were actually out there for 3 days, and they worked their asses off. And on day 2, I believe it was, my agent broke his cell phone, shattered the screen while shoveling a ditch to save a village. So I was able to amass the funds, and in a very special use of the funds that I would not normally just do arbitrarily, I sent him enough funding to buy a new cell phone so that he could continue to make a living on Steam and to do more good work for the people in his community and in his country through YouAreHOPE. So that's a very rare instance. Now, while we're talking about all these big projects we've done, let me talk about another issue that has come up even more and more frequently recently, and I'm going to spread the word to you guys now because it's important that this message kind of circulate a little bit. YouAreHOPE is me, pretty much. Fishy Culture publishes stuff. Battle Axe and Sarge are constantly promoting. There's a few other people who are really on top of promoting YouAreHOPE, like Ingenuity over at the Alliance, and the full Alliance community in general has been very supportive with the bots. Sneaky Ninja and Lost Ninja are both owned by Alliance members. There's a lot of support from Team Good members, which is Battle Axe's hashtag for anyone doing kind and gracious things in the world. But when it comes down to it, because I'm accountable to all of you for every dime and dollar or SBD or Steam that we spend, I'm very careful. And so I have turned away many, many people. And if you ever hear a disparaging word about YouAreHOPE from someone, come and talk to me about what the real story is, because I have heard it a little bit out there. And here's what happens. Someone will come to me and say, my grandma is dying, it's tragic. And she probably is, and it probably is. But I always turn away individual cases. We can't give 50 SBD to a grandma, no matter how desperate that condition is, when, first of all, the person who is asking for that money is on Steam and capable of running a fundraiser of their own here. But second of all, that same 50 SBD could take care of an entire school of children. could put shoes on 100 people, could put food in the mouths of 150 orphan, whatever it might be. We're trying to maximize the number of people we can reach that are in the worst possible conditions with the money, not help someone who already has access to a computer, who already is eating and has shoes on. Those are not what we're looking to do. So, have you lost sound? Coffee's asking, is this the intermission? Have you lost sound? What's going on out there? I'm just talking and assuming you can hear me. I see Journey's listening on one of the streams. If you can give me a poke, Journey, and let me know that because your headphones are muted, I'm assuming you're on one of the streams. Yep.
Clark, I couldn't hear you from the start of this in the other Discord channel, but I assume the stream is working because people are responding to you.
I verified the streams when I started, and Cat Barbie, thanks for popping into the booth there and scaring the hell out of me because I didn't expect anyone to join me on the show, but hello. Yeah, I saw that all the channels were fine. Everything's fine. The bot's been working good. Nobody's been complaining they can't hear me. So yeah, I don't know. Confusing. Anyway. Alrighty, moving on. I was talking about what we don't do. So individual cases, I turn them away, and some people resent that a little bit. So if you do hear anything disparaging, come and check with me, and we'll find out if they're just upset because I couldn't offer them assistance. That's kind of a thing. Individual cases can't work. So now Shadows Pub is telling me that there's no sound since the show started. So that's all very peculiar because it worked great all the way through Patrice, and it worked great for everyone until I'm hearing it just now 30 minutes into the show. How have you been talking back to me if you can't hear me? Very strange. Anyway. Actually, Phoenix, if you want to jump over into the bot channel, I have pinned the command that'll kick off that bot again. It's the MB Play RTMP command that's pinned. Anyway, I don't know why it would die. It shouldn't die. It never has died for 3 days. It's been working. So that's very peculiar, and I'd be curious if anyone who's listening in the Steam Star Network 24/7 room can hear me, and if it's just some of you. That would be very peculiar. All right, moving on. So one thing we don't do is individual cases. Another thing that's come to me recently was someone who came to me, and we have in the past, but I've made this more of a rule more recently. I've helped college students who are in impoverished countries who are having trouble completing their schooling. Generally, though, only when there's more than one. Someone came to me and said that he had just finished his exams, but 5 or 6 of his friends were not able to matriculate or finish their exams because there was a fee involved that they couldn't pay. First of all, he wasn't asking me for anything for himself and documented that. He was asking to help about 5 other students, and it was only around 20 Steam. So I did that. But when it comes down to it, I don't help folks that already have the means to get online, that already have the means to dress and clothe themselves appropriately for their climate, that have food, a roof over their head. They may have needs, medical or educational or something, but they're not starving to death. They're not living with babies dying of malaria inside their house. They're basically struggling to survive, and those are the people that we're helping. So everyone's saying that I've been talking for 30 minutes while nobody on Discord could hear. You guys have to tell me you can't hear me, and we can do things about that, but I don't know if you can't hear. So there's that. Anyway, this is why we tell you not to listen in Discord, and I'll repeat it again now like I do every Sunday on Steamidizens of Steam and on Fridays on Steam Star After Dark. Don't listen in Discord. Discord sucks. It's a mono VoIP driver simulated stereo with no video. We're on Twitch, we're on YouTube, we're on VLC Player, we're on SteamStar.net. You can run any RTM player in the world you want. Just watch it on video. We spend money to support that. We work hard to make interesting feeds. The YouAreHOPE feed isn't very interesting, but all the other shows are. There's information you'll miss if you listen only in Discord and don't watch the streams. When the shows that play music, they often show the music video of your fellow Steamians. You don't get to see that in here. Basically, there's absolutely no reason to be in a listening room on Discord for any of our shows. You can come to the text chat to interact with us, and watch the streams in the background, switch back and forth, use multiple windows, or whatever you want to do. But you're basically getting the worst possible experience in Discord. It's unstable, unreliable, and there's not much we can do about it. The ironic thing is the 24/7 bot has actually been on for over 70 hours, 48 hours now without hiccups until my show came on. Whatever. The one that I can't stop to fix it for. But I've trained AnCat Barbie. She's on top of it. And hopefully it's kicked off again. Anyway. So, thank you, AnCat Barbie. I appreciate your help on that. So, it's good to have help, and we all help each other, and that's what YouAreHOPE is about. By the way, in case you didn't know, HOPE is an acronym. HOPE stands for Help, Opportunity, Purpose, and Empowerment. Those are the things that we strive to support. So, when it comes down to it, we have been very, very busy. Now, let's talk about the current state of the situation, and let me turn to all of you who can now hear me. For all of you who missed everything I've been talking about for the last 30 minutes, here's basically a quick summary. I talked about the history of YouAreHOPE, which a lot of you already knew, and if you didn't, it'll be in the replay that I will be posting later, and which will also play here all week on the Backfill Replay bot, which runs in between the live shows. You can pop into that listening room anytime or catch steamstar.net for any of the other listening and viewing locations links. Now, so you missed the 30 minutes. We covered history. We covered who the donors have been over the past week. We talked about what missions were accomplished this week. They all seem to be about shoes for some reason and coincidentally. But we gave out a lot of shoes this week. And then we're talking about what to do next. I have not had a significant mission come across my plate for a week or two. Now, I've got a couple that are working on getting ready to go, and they've sent me some of their preliminary documentation to prove what they're going to do. But I've basically been in a funding, like, what's the word I'm looking for here? Stockpiling. Trying to raise up more money in our wallet for a couple reasons. First of all, we'd like to add some steam power to the account so that we can do more upvoting of charitable posts around the platform. Oh, that's a great comment there. AnCat Barbie, who just helped us with this bot, has helped us in another way this week. We now have a curation trail on Steam Auto. Steam Auto is steamauto.com. It uses Steam Connect, so it's safe to give your keys. You get in there, you look up YouAreHOPE in their little search bar, and you follow that sucker. And everything we vote on, you'll vote on. And trust me, it won't eat up your voting power because AnCat Barbie is going to manage that. You can set the percentage that you know and that you use. Yeah, I was telling you, it's MB Play and the RTMP stream, and it's pinned in the bot control channel, Phoenix. All right, so anyway, you can set the percent and how many votes you'll allow per day and a threshold to stop voting when you follow us. But let's say you put a 5% vote in there, and this thing votes, I don't know, maybe a couple times a day, maybe a couple times a week so far when I manage it, because manual curation is manual, and I'm a busy guy. Now that AnCat Barbie has been given the reins to that bot, it may vote a little more, but overall it will only vote on worthy causes and on our Agents of Hope, and we do self-vote YouAreHOPE to get that money right back into the coffers of the charity again, and I'm not even proud about it, I'm going to tell you. But at the end of the day, we are doing what we can on just, I don't know, a couple hundred Steam a month in income, and I've started to stockpile a little bit because I've got a project cooking in Kenya that a user actually came and joined the platform. That's someone I've known since I was 4 years old. And this woman goes to Kenya every year, twice a year sometimes, and works on charitable causes through either her church, which is a big mega church in Memphis, or through other organizations that she's become involved with over the last 15 or 20 years. So right now they're working on two major initiatives in Kenya to help women who are widowed. In Kenya, the culture is such that if a woman is widowed, first of all, they get no inheritance. They probably have children and they've probably never had a job in their lives. So they're unskilled, often uneducated, encumbered by children, and no longer have a breadwinner in the home, which is a male predominant breadwinning society. And not only are they not given an inheritance, which usually goes to the dead man's family, but they're left to just basically live on the streets if they didn't have a home that was paid for. So that initiative is to set up a business, a catering business. It's actually already launched. It would actually cost $5,000 US for them to buy all of the equipment and service supplies and everything, and rent a building or buy a building, I'm not entirely sure, where the kitchens are. And these women, these widowed women, have created two companies. The one that's a catering business is a self-sustaining charity of its own. Now that it's established with all the equipment and gear necessary to do catering for events, like event catering. So they got folding chairs and tables and tents and a building to cook in and store all of this stuff, and all of the chafing dishes and, whatever, with the little burners underneath that you set up buffet lines with, all the stuff to do catering for events. Empowered these impoverished women, widows, to run this business, and further taught them how to find more widows as they come along and incorporate them into this company, building a self-sustaining Kenyan widow-driven catering business. Say that really fast. And it's an amazing thing, because our whole premise with help, opportunity, purpose, and empowerment is not to go out and just give food to people in the street and forget about them. Okay? We do some of that because it's desperately needed. And not everyone can adapt from being, on the street and living in cardboard boxes and such in Venezuela to suddenly going to work. It's a little bit more to it than that, but they're not going to be able to do anything if they're not eating or having clothing or shoes. So we start there with the fundamental human needs. But where we can, we do look for opportunities to, like, clean up a village or do a medical day, which came with a lot of education, or in some way create a perpetuating situation. So this is the ultimate one we've had the opportunity to be involved with yet, is this initiative for these women in Kenya. So the first company is the catering business. The second one is even more interesting to me as a nerd. Peanut butter factory. These same widowed women have access to a major crop there, which of all things is peanuts. I had no idea peanuts were a big thing in Kenya. I thought they came from Georgia, Virginia, in America. But yeah, peanuts are a big deal in Kenya, but there's no processing. So these women are able to obtain the peanuts, process them, and jar them, but that required a fairly expensive machine. And it's like factory production equipment for canning peanut butter, jarring peanut butter. But peanut butter is, as you know, is an incredibly high protein, incredibly useful food, because it doesn't have to be refrigerated. This, you may not have realized this, but peanut butter is one of those foods, if it's sealed away from the air and kept in a cool, dark place like a cupboard, you can keep it indefinitely, and it's safe to eat. So peanut butter, high in protein, very valuable for folks who need easy to prepare, easy to store, high value food. Turns out peanut butter is the thing. So with all this access to peanuts, we're working to get them a peanut, I guess I'll just call it a peanut jarring machine. Man, it takes the peanuts, it crushes them into peanut butter, and it puts it in the jar, right? Factory style. So they're going to set up this peanut butter production facility. And that's a secondary company that these widowed women will be able to then distribute and sell the peanut butter, as well as using it for emergency needs as staple food for those who need it, children and such. So it's a really big deal. It's pretty expensive. And I'm working hard to amass a significant amount of input to that effort. I think that one is going to be a situation where the money is worth spending, because once we've spent it, it's like lighting a spark and the fire will burn forever. Once those women are empowered and those peanut butter factories are set up and those catering kitchens are already done, they have a business that'll self-sustain, will make income, will allow them to then help the future generations of women in those conditions to join into that effort. So I really feel strong about that one. And like I said, the person who is coming to the blockchain, her name is Celeste. I've known her and her twin sister since we were in preschool, 4 years old. I've known her my whole life, and I'm turning 50 this year, so that's not insignificant. I trust her implicitly, and I will give her all the funding that I can raise for this effort in Kenya. So that's what I'm working on right now, is trying to save up our donations a little bit. If anything urgent comes along on the blockchain, I'm still addressing that. I haven't had too many opportunities to handle any big missions lately. I've had to turn away a couple of individuals who don't meet the criteria or are well off enough that they can handle their own fundraising here on the chain. So there's that. And then after we get done with Kenya, I'm not sure what's next for us. So be keeping an eye out for these opportunities. All the time when I go out on the chain, I see people trying to do fundraisers for things. If it is a fundraiser that seems legit, and we'll do the research to find out if it is, and it looks like it's going to help a lot of people for a low cost, bring that to my attention, please. I need scouts, so to speak. A lot of people come straight to me because they've heard of YouAreHOPE, but not everyone has heard of YouAreHOPE. So if we can spread the word and find worthy missions, I'll do what I can to support those, especially if they're affordable and high impact. That's really the goal. And you've heard a lot about what we do and consider high impact so far. Thank you so much for all of you that are here and were patient during the 30 minutes you couldn't hear me and didn't tell me so. But I see Kafia and Journey and Colonel and Patrice and Phoenix, also known as ANCAT Barbie. She changes her name everywhere. It's confusing to me. Just use your name, people. and Sosint, and thank you so much for all of you being here. I know we have listeners on Twitch and YouTube as well. When I bounce over to the Restream control panel, I can see listeners out on those other streams that aren't here in the listening room. I am just so proud of all of you and grateful to all of you for your involvement so far in this effort. Please tell your friends. Please spread the word. Please use the graphics from YouAreHOPE to publicize about us. It would be very helpful to spread the word, both from a donor point of view and from finding new missions to do. Because as much need as there is in the world, it doesn't always get brought to our doorstep. So we also have to look up. And yeah, you change your name in every Discord every time, ANCAT Barbie. That's not really good brand building. I'm just saying. You can say whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. You're my buddy. But you ain't doing yourself any favors if nobody can remember who you are. I'm not trying to censor you. I'm trying to help you. I'm from the government. I'm here to help. All right. So anyway, let's see. We're now at 7:46 p.m., 3/4 of the way through the show. There's 14 minutes left in the show. Does anyone have any questions about this week in YouAreHOPE, next week in YouAreHOPE, the history of YouAreHOPE, the future for YouAreHOPE, me, Sir Cork, the witness team of Ron Decay and myself, or anything really? Like, if you want to know why the sky is blue, I will make up an answer right now. Test me, try me, check it out. That said, I am yours for the next 13 minutes. I can keep talking about stuff, but I feel like there might be a question. So let's see. Joseph Savage is agreeing with me. There's a user with a recognizable name. Nobody knows who it really is, but his brand is recognizable. That's true. I actually don't recognize it, but I've heard the word, I think. I don't know. Anyway, I'm not sure what else to say. 45 minutes ago, and I could start over again with the 30 minutes you all missed, but that will make for a very interesting recording. That's why this show is only 1 hour long, though. It doesn't take long to recap a week on Steam in the life of a charity, especially when we've been like in a mode that I've mentioned, which is more like a stockpiling mode right now with the donations than a giving mode. It's not that we've stopped. It's just that there hasn't been significant worthy missions coming across my deck. I'd like to really do something high impact in Kenya with the widows and my friend Celeste, who joined the chain under the name CD Phipps. She hasn't published yet. She went to Kenya. She signed up and then literally went straight to Africa like the next day. So she's on the chain and her account exists, but she's not using it yet. I don't know if she's back from Africa. That's been less than a month ago. So I'm guessing she's just gotten back and hasn't gotten here yet. I'll have to get in touch with her. I know that she sent some pictures over on Facebook of the catering equipment that they bought. So looking to get heavily involved there. If you have any ideas for YouAreHOPE, now would be a great time to share them with me. I am also always looking for, like I said, scouts to find worthy missions, promoters, fundraisers, anything that you can do. Even if you don't have any money, you can always be talking about us and spreading the word. It's amazing to me 8 months in that I still encounter people, as much as I see YouAreHOPE on so many posts and on so many people's tags and on so many mentions in so many places. It's amazing to me that I still meet people every day who've never heard of it, especially people that are even in communities with me and such. So I don't understand how they missed it, but we got to keep spreading the word because we really need to get people involved for this to work. There are over 500 people in the You Are Hope Discord. If every single one of them contributed, shoot, even a tenth of a Steam, 10 cents, or an entire Steam per month, that 500 Steam per month from one Steam per user, and almost everybody can raise a Steam on Steam in a month. You have to work really hard not to raise a Steam on Steam in a month, if you're actually posting and stuff. And you contribute that to You Are Hope, that would be 500 Steam a month, which would basically like 10x our current income. So, yes, Carrie? Oh, Carrie just bounced in and bounced out, and I got some feedback off her speakers. She started her OBS, and we've learned that somehow when we start OBS, we automatically get stuck into the show control booth today. We both discovered that, and it shocked us. But that's what happened, which means that Carrie Allen's getting ready for her show, and that's a great cue for me to take a minute and remind you all that you are listening to the Steam Star Network, and I am Sir Cork, and this is the You Are Hope Transparent Town Hall, and it has 10 minutes left in it before we start Steam Star After Dark, which is our Friday night big show, where we read theater scripts that are written by Steamians, short one-acts and comedy and drama and horror pieces, and we often drag people in from the audience. I would imagine in the next couple of minutes, her audience will begin to arrive and the listening room and the channel will start to fill up with more people. Stick around for that. And all the other show hosts on SteamStar.network that we're so happy to have that are here all week. We're now running shows 6 days a week, looking for Saturday hosts. We have 16 shows now on the network that run Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Fridays at varying times. The schedule is now current and up to date on SteamStar.net. So all the show times over there are in UTC, which is Universal Time. And you can make the adjustment to your local time zone. I'm in Eastern Time, so for me that's -5. You get the idea. And basically, Sarge is saying, don't forget to mention Shout Out Saturday. Crazy BG Adventure, who runs the Crazy About Steam show on, I believe, Mondays, or is it Tuesdays? I'd have to look at my own schedule. I get a little confused what day it is more than what day the shows are. Anyway, he does a thing called Shout Out Saturday, where he encourages people to pick a favorite Steamian and post about them rather than about themselves. And he asked the question, did I meet anyone new this week? Yeah, thousands of people. Because I'm a witness, I get 1,000 new people DMing me a day. I did meet lots of new people. Did I meet anyone that stood out to me this week? Is there a point? Are you going somewhere with the question? Because I meet somebody new every couple of hours on this platform, so I'm not sure where that's going. He says he did, and some fascinating people as well. Phoenix says, when Lambo? Well, yeah, so over on Steam Agency, the site I mentioned earlier, which has all of our projects on it, I have been starting to build some software. I started with a really cool dead followers tool that will tell you if your followers are active based on their last post or vote date, and you can change that parameter. Find out who's not following you and what your real follower counts are. You can also use the dead following tool to see if you're following people who aren't even here anymore, and if so, go ahead and unfollow them right there from the site. And she loves my favorite feature, which is the Win Lambo calculator, which will take any amount of Steam that you tell it, or SBD that you tell it, so you just give it the amount that's in your wallet, hit enter, and it'll tell you how much of a percent of a Lamborghini you can afford. If you can afford more than one, it'll tell you, and it'll also tell you, you owe me one for building the tool. If you can afford 2 Lambos, you should tip the builder. Thank you. All right, so that wasn't supposed to really be a plug. This show isn't really about plugging projects or witnesses, but I am a witness with Ron Decay, and all the information about that's over at steam.agency, which is just a domain I had lying around, and probably the most appropriate one that I had for putting tools and stuff on about that. So, let's see. Sarge has just put his calendar into the chat. Now, Sarge maintains a calendar over on Google Cal's thing that you can put into your Google Calendar. And the cool thing about it, if you look real close at his photograph, is going down the left, it has his local time zone, and wherever you are, it would have your local time zone and UTC. So that you can look at that and say, okay, here's Sir Cork's Steamidizens of Steam show on Sundays. Here's my time zone. Here's Universal Time. Now I know what time to show up for the show. So that's cool. And as you can see, it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 shows listed on it. A 16th show has emerged. I don't believe is on the schedule yet, and I'm not going to disclose that just yet, just in case it doesn't happen. But we've got a lot of great new hosts who've started in the last 2 weeks. Be checking those shows out. Just to basically take a couple of minutes here at the end and let you know what's on the Steam Star Network, since I'm effectively just filling some time right now. Let me head over to the site and tell you what's going on Steam Star Network next week. Now, as I mentioned, Carrie Allen will be out on Monday night for the Mission Control Monday show, but that'll be a special episode where we replay the last 4 episodes of Space Carrie in Space in sequence. And I'm going to try to get Little Scribe, who is on the show as a character, as well as myself, Captain Cork, on the show. And we're going to talk a little bit about what it's like to record scripted, sound affected, full-blown, full production, professional radio theater, and what it's like to record our lines by ourselves without other actors in the room, because we all record at home and submit them to Carrie Allen and Chris Roberts, who compile the show with the sound effects and the full production quality. And it's an interesting experience. So Monday night, I hope to do a special edition of Carrie Allen's Mission Control Monday in her absence for a night off for travel. And you'll get to catch up if you haven't heard Space Carries in Space. It's a total riot. It's fully produced. Each episode is 10 to 15 minutes long. We're on episode 4. Episode 5 will continue when she gets back the following Monday. But in general, in the meantime, in between time, while we wait for Carrie to get back and do that cool replay sort of director's cut edition of Mission Control Monday, where we talk with the actors on her show. Catch all these other shows, like the one you heard right before me on Fridays, Trash Talk with Patrice of Steam Cleaners, Spaminator, MacBot, and Broombot. Then the YouAreHOPE Foundation Transparent Town Hall, which you're listening to now. And after this show, immediately following it, will be, let me scroll a little bit, Steam Star After Dark with Carrie Allen and Chris Roberts and guests, which means you guys. If you're in the audience and you have a microphone and you're ready to go with high bandwidth, enough to get on Discord and talk and stuff, then we might drag you into a script that you've never seen before, and we haven't seen before either, and read it to our audience as theater with sound effects and all, because Chris Roberts writes most of these scripts himself. We're looking for script writers for that show, so stop in and catch an episode of Steam Star After Dark tonight. Learn what we're all about, and either if you're a writer and you want to write scripts for this show, little one-acts for 1 to 4 people, or if you want to participate on the show and be an actor in one of the script readings, we read them cold. It's the closest we can come to Saturday Night Live without being funny, because we're not very funny. Now, we're totally hilarious. It's a riot. It's a lot of fun. So come check out Steam Star After Dark here in about 3 minutes. Anyway, to quickly hustle through the rest of the schedule, Sundays kicks off the week, Steamitizens of Steam with me, and that's a 4.5-hour show. That's a show about you, the show about anything, where anyone can take the mic and drop it. Not very many people want to talk, but I try to get them to, and that's what we do every Sunday. I'll usually have 20 or 30 guests, several witnesses come. It's a good time. You can ask questions of the witnesses and each other. Mondays, Creative Coffee Hour with Artemis North, Crazy About Steam with Crazy BG Adventure, The Right Answers with my partner in crime and time on the witness team, Rhonda Kay, and co-host Shadows Pub. Tuesdays sees Mondays are confusing because we're doing UTC time. Midnight Monday, which is actually Tuesday morning, kicks into Tuesday with Mission Control Monday with host Carrie Allen, Talk of the Line with host Ethan D. Smith, Estimidos with witness host Navarez, which is broadcast 100% in Spanish for our Latin-speaking friends. Usually mostly Venezuelans, but also Spain and all the other Latin American, South American countries and Spanish-speaking countries are welcome at that show. And then we have on Wednesdays, The Steam Experience with host Richard Krill and Sea Blue, Ask Little Scribe with Little Scribe, The Ministry of Steam with host Damien J. Clay, Darren Cray, and Pingo, featuring a ton of their own original music as well as commentary on posts that they go find online and interviews. Great show. Steam at Ramble twice on Thursdays with Shadows Pub, 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening, our most popular show on the network. The last time I attended was this Thursday. I believe there were 70 people in the audience presenting a post. The show ran overtime because she has Thursdays to herself with the morning and evening editions right now. She can kind of run as long as she wants. That 2-hour show went 3.5 hours sharing communal posts and getting to know each other and networking. Great opportunity to pimp your post. And if you can't make the morning show, make the evening show, because they are different. They're not the repeat. It's 2 unique editions of the show. And the interesting thing about it is people don't leave. So you'll come for the 11 a.m. show Eastern Time, which is 3 p.m. UTC, and you'll sit through the show, and then you'll get into the chatter after she stops the stream, and you'll find yourself still sitting there at 7 p.m., and then you'll do the second show, and then she'll stop the stream, and you'll find yourself sitting there till midnight. A lot of us do every week. Just great, great community going on over in the Steam at Ramble with Shadows Pub and the Pimp Your Post Thursday shows. Fridays, of course, we started there with Trash Talk, YouAreHOPE Foundation, and Steam Star After Dark. There's the week in review, all 16 shows. Schedules at steamstar.net/schedule. It is now 8 p.m. and time for me to give the stream to Carrie Allen and Chris Roberts for Steam Star After Dark. So sit tight, go get a drink. I'm going to stop streaming. Carrie, I bet you're listening somewhere. Get ready to go, because I'm gone. Thank you for listening to the YouAreHOPE Transparent Town Hall with Sir Cork. See you next week.